I think so. According to the clock ticking, it's like 10 or 11
Hello.
seconds in.
Hello, everyone. We are so glad to be with you guys. Today is Hot Thursday.
Yeah, now we always have to have some technical difficulties. You always know we got to have some background issues. So
Yes.
we were scrambling trying to get this done. As you know, this past couple weeks, we have been on a journey coming from Alabama to here. We wanted to welcome you guys first to the Rich Relationship Live Thursday night,
Refuge.
Rich Relationship Refuge live Thursday night
Hot session.
hot session. And we're going to be talking about a topic that came up during the move.
Well, we got it first. We got to stop that.
Okay. So we want to start out because this came up, or this topic that we're going to be talking about tonight came up out of our own experiences. So this is kind of going to be not necessarily a point by point kind of teaching type of thing
It's
about
going to be we're bringing you along on a journey and sharing with you the stuff that we really go through in real life. And this is something that really happened. So I'll let Gil start.
well, before we start, I have to preface it and set it up.
Okay, set it up.
I'm gonna
Baby.
set it up. I'm gonna
Set
set
it
it
up.
up.
Set it up.
Because when we are talking about conflict, is what we're talking about. We did
What's the
a
title? What's the title?
facts over feelings.
And y'all, Gil came up with this title. So
It's not so much. I just came up with it.
you came with the title.
This was God inspired because I had some real issues, y'all. I had some
do
things
too.
I had to deal with. No, this is I had to deal with this. She's being nice right now, but I had to deal with this because this really the what preceded all of this was the conflict that we had during this whole move episode that we were finishing. So to kind of recap, to catch you up where we were at last week. I was going to Alabama. As you can see, we're physically together. We're not on a split screen, but I flew back to Alabama. We packed up a 26-foot moving truck, probably over 19,000 pounds worth of stuff over 3 days. At the same time, we closed on the house. We sold all our house back in
Yay.
Alabama, and we prayed that the people who bought it loved
Will
it
be
and enjoyed it
blessed.
as much
And
as
we
we
prayed
did.
for them and the house.
And so we drove out on Monday.
Yes, we did.
Monday at about noon, drove a little while. You guys know we got the whole tribe with us. Carmen and Elijah and Lyric are with us.
Yes, they
so
are.
here in San Antonio. So we just caravan over a 3-day drive. We
Yes,
took
we
it
did.
slow. We took it easy because we had so many things
Wild
happening.
cards
Well, yeah,
that
wild
happened
cards.
with the other move.
But it was just so many things happening that we wanted to take our time. We wanted to be safe. We wanted to get here. As you can see in our backdrop, we are
We're
in
not
our new
finished.
place. We have a box explosion. So if you've moved, you know what that feels like to have stuff everywhere.
Yeah,
So
everywhere. Stuff is everywhere, y'all.
we have stuff everywhere, and we're unpacking and trying to get settled. And as we are transitioning into this new environment with this hot weather everybody's experiencing, it's been challenging. It's been challenging, but we are blessed and we're thankful and we're grateful. And we thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Because we said this is a priority for us. We are actually going to make this the priority because even though we are busy doing things in life and in real life, this is still a priority and important to
You
us.
are a priority. Our commitment to Rich Relationship Refuge is that we want to make sure that we do what we say we're going to do. Because the big thing is that most people start off real well, but they don't finish.
Right.
And we are finishers, and we're going to be with you and be with you on this journey from now until Jesus comes. And so we hope that you'll stay with us. We're grateful. But we're going to go into what the episode is really about.
So we actually cannot see the comments right now because we
Yeah.
are working from the phone.
Yeah, so if you have
Because-
comments, please tell us where you're from. We're so grateful you joined us. We love you. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. In the comments now or in the future, tell us where you're watching us from. Thank you all for all of your comments and your feedback. I literally sit and spend hours every day reading them and responding to them. You guys are amazing. We love and appreciate you. So if you put a comment in there and we don't respond during this live session, we will go back and respond to it. So anything you want us to know or you want to share, please put it in the comments. And I think it's going to come up on the screen, but I know that I'll be able to see it later on.
Yeah. So Getting into the topic that we're talking about, we're going to be talking about conflict, and we want to talk about it from a real perspective that happened with us during this move. And after the episode or after the incident happened and we resolved it, everything, it basically driving back, God spoke to it was just God inspired, because when I drove and I started replaying it, for those athletes out there, it's called being a Monday morning quarterback. When you replay the whole game, or you replay bad situation, or not bad situation, but any situation, but you replay it in your mind about what happened, you're going to come up with better solutions.
Okay, I have a question. Stop.
Okay.
How many of you, when you have an incident that you go through that's negative, that you evaluate it? Because if you don't learn to be the kind of person that evaluates what you go through, you won't learn the lesson and you'll keep going through it. So both Gil and I are the kind of people, when things happen, we are self-examining and evaluating and asking the Lord, show me how I can learn from that. Show me what I did. Show me how I could do something different. So that's just a side note. If you do evaluate yourself when things happen, put it in the feed. I see you guys coming in. Hey, everyone. We love you guys.
So we'll set it up. I'll tell you what happened. So we were packing up the truck, and it was a lot. It was hot. It was just a lot going on, a lot of activity happening. And when we were packing the truck, there was a time where Renee wanted to take some patio furniture onto the truck. I had been packing the truck for over a day and a half, and I was just running out of space. So when that happens, you have to start prioritizing what's not going to make it, what's not going to make the trip. Almost like Noah's Ark. I feel bad for those animals who didn't make it, but but I don't know where that
They
came
all
from.
made it.
Yeah, they all made it, but some didn't. But
Okay.
but so the furniture didn't make it, and at first I didn't think it was a big deal until it wasn't a big deal, until Renee came and talked to me about how she felt about what had happened with the furniture. And that's going to kind of lead us into the narrative of when it comes to when you have conflict about things happening. The first thing I want to tell you is you have to really understand and define what the problem really is.
Well, let me say, I was livid.
Tell them why you were livid.
I was mad. I was upset. And for me, I am a very positive, optimistic person. So when I get mad, it is like really bad, and it's more physical and emotional. And so when I find myself feeling that way, I have to stop and say, okay, what are you mad about? Because I'm not a things person. It's not about the things. That's not me. And so I say, okay, what am I mad about? What am I upset about? I know this boy is working super hard to get this truck packed. Gil packed the truck like a professional. He did. And him and our friend Mike, the two of them did it together. And I knew they were working hard. And I just kept saying, that I wanted room for that furniture that was just going. I was adamant about that from the beginning. I was like, you know what? It's some things I'm willing to let go of, but for me, because we move so much, it's certain things that I make a decision that this is something that's important to me. I want to keep this. I'll give it an A, B, C, D, but this is something I want. And so when he said that it wasn't going to make it, I was like, he said, Renee, it's not going to make it. And I was like, huh? I was like, I said, I really wanted that to make it. And he was like, I'm working really hard and I'm sorry that it didn't make it. It's just to make it. And
now let me jump in here now. This is where the facts and feelings come up with. This is where it came from. After I kind of replayed this in my mind, if Renee is telling me how she felt about something, about how she felt about the furniture, and I'm talking facts, I'm talking about the space in the truck, I'm talking about why it didn't make it. I have all these reasons why it wasn't going to make the trip, it wasn't going to make the truck. Those were my facts, and they were accurate, and they were real, and they were 100%. But I did not take into account her feelings about the situation. So while Renee was talking about her feelings, I was talking about facts. And that's where the disconnect came. That's where the clash came. So the lesson that I learned from this is when you're going through a discussion or you're going through a issue,
especially when it's heated,
if you're talking facts and your spouse or your significant other is talking feelings, you're going to have a problem. You're not going to practice some of the things that we've talked about in the conflict resolution type of things that we have already talked about for years and years and years. The first one is defining the problem. If I'm telling her what the problem is about space in the truck, and she's talking about how she felt about the sentimental value of this furniture, we're talking two different things. We're not communicating in that aspect. So guess what that's going to do? That's going to affect your listening. You're not going to be listening. I'm going to be listening to make my next fact. I'm going to be listening to make my next point and get her to understand from my perspective why this stuff wasn't going to make it to the truck.
And so what I had to do was I was like, Gil, this is not about you not doing a good job packing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I communicated to you that I wanted to take this. And it wasn't really about the things. It's about the reason why I'm so mad is because you dismissed what I told you I wanted and what I needed to tell me. You made it about you. I'm doing a big job. I'm working hard, but that wasn't what we were talking about. And so he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I didn't take into consideration how that made you feel.
So the number one is defining the problem.
Yes.
You got to know what your real problem is.
You, the person that's mad. I was mad. I needed to know what I was mad about because I can't come to him and tell him what the problem is if I'm just talking about the furniture was the symptom. It really wasn't about the furniture. It really wasn't about how well he packed the truck or how hard job he worked or how many hours. It was really about, I told you something that was important to me and you dismissed me. And then not only did you dismiss me, you went back to talking about you. And one of the things we always talk about is that the person who comes with the problem should have the floor. So if I come to you and tell you something that I have a problem with, that's not the time for you to tell me, well, I've been working hard. But we both had to extend grace to each other because I knew he was tired. I knew he had worked hard. I knew he was exhausted. And the thing that, just like God showed him facts versus feeling, the Lord showed me that at the root of every conflict that goes unresolved, the issue, the root is the thing we talked about last week. And it's because if you're walking in humility, the first thing you're going to do to someone when something happens is say, you know what, babe, I mess up. I do things wrong. I'm going to extend grace to you. So, but when you're walking in pride says, how dare you disappoint me? I don't care about how hard you're working. I don't care about how you feel. I don't care about your tired. And that's how you can go weeks and months and years without talking to someone because you're walking in pride. And, in the show notes, I give you a list of ways to know if pride is at the root of your conflicts. But I can almost guarantee you that at the root of every conflict, at the root of every issue that you have in your relationship, when pride is high, forgiveness is low, humility is low, empathy is low, grace is low. And all of those things have to be leveraged in order for you to really be able to be one. Because after he said, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't take into consideration your feelings. I was like, okay. Because all I really wanted was for him to hear my heart. It really wasn't about the furniture because he was like, I could buy you furniture. And so it's not about that. It's about what you did made me feel. And I think it's so important sometimes as women, we don't know how to really get to the root of why we're mad. And so we make it about the thing, the symptom. And so I think so many times in relationships, symptoms and pride are the main reason why we have unresolved conflicts. And one of the things we were talking about this yesterday was me and Gil have been together since we were 18 years old.
Almost 40 years. You think about it.
We have made each other mad. We have disappointed each other. We have did things and said things that the other person didn't like. But you know how we have recovered from all those things? Each time something happens, we forgive each other and we let it go. So every time you have a conflict, you bring out all the other things that this person has did wrong. That means you haven't forgiven those things. Because when you forgive someone, you can not bring that up the next time something happens. I was thinking about, have you ever been in an accident in a car and you basically you get bumped from behind or something happens in a car, does that stop you from driving? Because when things happen, he's gonna bump me, I'm gonna bump him. He's gonna do things I don't like. I'm gonna do things he doesn't like. But guess what you do? You forgive and you try again. And so I just think that we have to understand that pride has caused so many problems in our relationships. And I know that we talked about pride last week, but I think that even in regards to being able to have forgiveness and to be able to give the other person the ability to be human, we have to learn how to walk in humility.
Yep. So we talked about the define the problem. You got to really define what the problem really is. Don't focus on the symptoms.
No.
The third thing I did, and I had to kind of restep my ideals, is I had to listen to understand, not to respond. So if I'm listening, if I'm in the middle of a conflict and I'm listening to already trying to get my next point across, or I'm trying to listen to set up, well, she said this, okay, I'm not.
Yeah.
You ever had those
Tit for tat.
conversations by yourself where you already said, well, they gonna say this and I'm gonna say that.
And you know what? That's another one of the symptoms of pride.
Yeah, so-
You're always trying to win the argument. You're always trying to bring the best point out. There's and please read the show notes, and we'll put the blog up too. But these are some of the ways, because one of the things we talked about last week, I was talking to Blanche about it. She said, man, I love how you walk that out. But how do you tell somebody to walk it in pride? How do you, well, you have to check yourself. And so just like in this situation, I had to say, okay, I love this man. I care about him. I know that he's not trying to hurt me. I know he's not trying to just withhold something from me. So why did I get so mad? And so I put that in there. Why did I get so mad? I got so mad because I felt like my need was being dismissed. And so you need to be able to go to the person you're mad at and say, this is what I'm mad about. I'm mad because you didn't keep your word. I'm mad because you dismissed me. So you need to be able to do that. So the person who has the problem needs to be able to examine their heart enough to be able to come to, because I can't expect him to fix it if I don't know what needs to be fixed.
Or you don't tell me about it.
Right.
That kind of goes back into the next thing. When you actually think about it, you have to, just like I did after Renee came to me and told me about how she felt and what was going on, I had to own my part in it.
Yeah.
I had to own it and say, you know what? Oh, squashing pride. You got to push it down, squash the pride and say, you know what? I had a part in this. I had a play in this. And I didn't do my part to listen to my wife, to listen to what was on her heart, listen to why she wanted this. Because every time you go through a move or some this major size and scale, it's going to be stressful. It's going to be painful. It's going to be some things that are just going to happen that are beyond your control that you have to be willing to adjust to. We call them wild cards. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Those wild cards happen. You have to be able to roll with it. Right. And you really are going to want somebody on your side or in your corner or helping you navigate these things. But if you are building up these blocks and these conflicts and these barriers, it's going to make it very challenging and very difficult for you to get through it, because you're going to be alone. You're going to be doing it all by yourself. So I had to literally own my part in the conflict and say, you know what? Yep, I messed that up. Yeah.
And I think a part of it, we kind of talked about it before through this whole ordeal. I would say that was probably the most heated I have gotten. And for me, I don't necessarily get upset or stressed out about stuff. I get upset and stressed out when I feel that I'm being dismissed or I feel that I'm not being heard. That will make me madder than, like Richie, the stuff with the car. And so I think it's important that you need to know what your areas where you are going to lose it at, so that you can kind of reel yourself back in and say, hey, this is the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. If you're going to let something this small destroy your relationship, then everything is going to be an issue. And so I don't like when we get like this. I don't like when I get mad like that. And the thing that I love about Gil is that it's so hard to stay mad at him for too long, because he has a track record. He has built in so much. He's invested so much in our conflict resolution bank, our empathy bank, our love bank, our, he's made out. So when something happens, it's like it's a real short time. I was mad, but I was probably, I didn't stay mad. I didn't even stay mad for an hour. I didn't even stay mad for 30 minutes because his immediate response was, "Baby, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I made you feel. I will buy you a new set." I was like, "No, I'm fine. I
She gonna
don't."
take it. She gonna take it.
No, I'm not. But I think that it's important that we share with you, because I know sometimes, you see the videos like, oh, they're the perfect couple. Nobody is the perfect couple. But we do practice the things that we tell you. And every time we go through something, we try to share it, because not only does it help you, it helps us. Because years from now, we're going to be able to go back and look at this. And I think about even the book that we wrote. There's things that we wrote in that book that when I read it, I'm like, who wrote that? Where'd that come from? Man. And so just like we're journeying and we're vlogging and we're writing and we're sharing, you all can do the same thing.
So we wanted to just come on tonight, even during this session, on this Thursday night live session with Gil and Renee from the Rich Relationship. If you just joined us, we actually came up with some of the things that we've been replaying, an incident that we had, a conflict that we had to resolve.
A blow up.
Yeah, it was a major. it was major. But you know what? When you have invested time, effort, and energy into your relationship, Renee mentioned it, and we talked about it in another teaching about your banks.
Yes.
She talked about that in your relationship bank, and that's such an important point. And I want to kind of reiterate it a little bit, because if you're not making deposit in your significant other and your spouse or whichever situation that you're in, you cannot expect to be able to make a withdrawal when things go awry, when things happen, when conflicts happen, because you have not invested, you have not made deposits.
Your account is empty.
NSF. You got NSF, bro.
Yeah.
Sister girl, you are NSF.
Yeah.
You need to start making some deposits in that person that you are trying to spend the rest of your life with, because when those conflicts come, and they're gonna come, you have to be able to know what to draw on, what to be able to pull out. So those are the things that we're kind of talking about. We talked about defining the problem. We talked about not working on
the symptoms.
The symptoms. Listen to understand, and with empathy.
Not to respond.
Not to respond. Own your part, because so many times we don't want to own our part in the actual conflict, that we think it's all just that other person.
No. Even for me, I had to own my part, because he didn't make me mad. No. I was mad. The anger was inside of me. And so I had to ask myself, why did what he did that make me so mad? Mm-hmm. And so people don't do anything to you, but it's an opportunity for you to see what's inside of you. And so that's the way you have to look at it. It's like, no, it wasn't Gil. It was the situation, but that situation brought out something in me. And I had to sit and say, okay, so why am I so mad? Because when I say I was mad, I was like super mad. I was like livid. And it's like, why? And I'm sure that it was probably intensified because we were tired, we were hungry, it was hot. All of those things they intensify. Whatever emotion you have, it's going to be more intense when you're tired or hungry or sleepy, or, you just been apart, And so you have to take all those things into consideration. These are the things we were sharing with you, because the reason why we've been able to be together for so long and enjoy each other's company is because I give him the grace and the empathy and the humility to be human, and he does the same thing for me. We don't always agree. We don't always see eye to eye. We are two different people, even with the roles as, doing this. Because my sister was like, I'm going to go out there and help Gil pack the truck. I was like, oh, no. That's his lane. Gil is a man. He has a analytical mind. He packed the truck. Man, when I tell you I was so proud of him, I was like, boy, look at that boy. I was like, that is sexy. First of all, you can drive that truck. Second of all, you packed it like a professional. The professional packers were like, man, are you a professional?
No.
Our friend Kim, she always says we're the most professional amateurs in the world. But it's because we try to do our best at everything that we do. And so when you take all those things into consideration, how could you stay mad at someone who is always there for you, always got your back? So he made a mistake. He made a bad decision. I'm not going to throw away all the things that he's done good because of one bad thing.
So one thing that we can actually give you as an actionable thing, that a takeaway, is something that is so important in it, but is very challenging to do when you're in the midst of a conflict, and that is to come up with a resolution.
Right.
Come up with a resolution of how you're going to get past this.
Well, I think the first thing is the person who is mad needs to be able to clearly articulate what you're mad about.
Mhm.
And until you can do that, you should not go to that person, because all you're going to do
Symptom.
is talk about the symptom, and then Lord forbid, if you guys both struggle with pride, I think that we underestimate the power of humility. When you walk in humility, anything can happen to you. And guess what? Humility makes you resilient. Pride makes you rigid. Pride makes you walk in autonomy. Pride makes you the kind of person that don't nobody want to be around. So in order to really navigate walking in, knowing how to resolve conflict, all those things we were talking about, set aside a time, evaluate the problem, come with a solution. But you also have to be mindful that if those things are hard for you to do, you might want to check your pride. Because sometimes the things that we're saying that you have to do, gratitude and empathy and grace and all those things require things that, guess what, as humans, we just don't have.
It's the polar opposite of pride.
Yeah.
That's when you're walking, as the Bible calls it, you're walking in the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Galatians 5, check it out. It
Yeah.
tells you, it gives you a list, it gives you a description of when you're walking in the flesh, like we were during that conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the Spirit comes in and kicks in, you're going to start manifesting those things of the Spirit, which are
Yeah.
going to be the things that's going to lead to your resolution. So when we talk about those things, we're talking about how to resolve it. To come up with a resolution, when I mentioned that earlier, it's hard for you to come up with a solution to a problem that you feel like you did not create. If you don't feel like you had a play in it or a part in creating the situation or the conflict or the issue, or however you want to define
Guess
it,
what? That's pride.
however you want to
Because
define
if it's two people, you had a part.
even if it's a
I
little,
love what Andy say. If you have a slice of the pie, you got to be nice. So even if it's, let's just say you're 1% at fault, own your 1% and do something. Another thing that pride makes you do, it makes you blame. It makes you avoid being vulnerable. It makes you not want to say, you know what? And it was just, and as soon as he said it, it's like it just disarmed me. I was like, baby, you okay? He was like, yeah, I'm okay. I said, I said, I forgive you. I said, I mean, it's like, to me, humility changes the atmosphere of the room versus blaming or deflecting. Or when you are vulnerable with someone, that should naturally disarm them. And if it does not, then again, the higher the pride, the harder it is to resolve conflicts with people.
You think about it, when you own something in the situation, that is an automatic disarmer.
Mm-hmm.
In a heated conflict. I had law enforcement training and all that kind of thing. They tell you to de-escalate the
Right.
issue. Whenever you have a conflict that comes up, you want to de-escalate. And the way you de-escalate is by you owning your part. When you say, you know what, my bad, that's on me. I did do that. I'm wrong. How can the other person say, yeah, you did that wrong, and go on and on and on?
Well, if that's the reaction that you get when you apologize to someone, one, their emotional IQ is very, very, very low. And two, their pride is very, very, very high. So when you're trying to decide who you're going to be in relationships with, these are things you have to not ignore. Because if there's always conflicts and they never get resolved, and there's never any peace, there's never any reciprocity where you both go back and forth, that's a relationship it's not gonna have longevity. And I think one of the things that has helped us over the years is that we have learned to give the other person the grace to be human. I don't expect for good to be perfect, because I'm not perfect.
So we hope you actually got something out of these things. Did you have any other points you want to make?
Well, I want you guys to give yourself an applause, man. You guys are the best community on the planet. And when we first started doing this, we really didn't know
where it's going,
where it was going to go.
And we still don't.
And we know the purpose of it is to help build healthy, strong relationships, build, repair, and restore relationships. We know that. We know the mission. We know our purpose. But we didn't know how it was going to be received, because we know that we're not, as our daughter says, our relationship is very nutrient dense. In other words, we heavy, y'all. We heavy.
We ain't gonna be coming talking about no light stuff. We gonna bring you some real things that really people are really, and this comes from the 18 years of working with couples. We're not just gonna bring you things to
Fluff.
entertain. We don't entertain.
Yeah,
That
I
is
try
not
to
us.
dance, y'all. I try to do my best.
We try to put some
y'all.
shorts out there, y'all,
I
but
try
we gonna
to.
stay in our lane, which is to talk about relationships and how you can actually take the things that we're talking about and apply it to your real relationships. Whether you're married, you're single, you're dating, you're going through some things,
Right.
to make it applicable to your life application skills.
Yeah.
That's what we really
Yeah,
really
so that's
focus
why
on.
we called it the refuge. We want to be a safe place for you. And so what I was saying was that we have reached 10,000 subscribers. That makes me want to cry. I'm so grateful and so humble that you guys are like people that don't know us, and just to see that you guys have entrusted us into your relationships,
We
and then you
above you.
guys
Thank
leave
you.
comments, and you guys, it is just, it's so humbling. And so we are so grateful for you guys, and we pray that we can continue to share and sow and invest in you guys, because we didn't have this. We didn't have someone to share with us how to have a healthy relationship. And I think that it's important that someone is modeling it. They're not just showing you the fake. They're not just showing you the good. We said all the time, we're going to show you the good, the bad, the ugly, the highs, the lows, how we buy groceries, how we deal with conflict.
Our messy house when we
Yeah.
moving.
So we are so grateful to serve you guys, and we're so grateful to see how us just sharing, doing what God told us to do, how it's been a blessing to us. And we pray that you guys we're being a blessing to you guys as well, because you guys bless us every day.
So if you want to reach out to us, as Renee mentioned earlier during this live, that we do respond to the comments. We do look. I do look at some of them.
Yeah.
Renee, she's the architect of all of this, and I do chime in. You know, I may not type right there on them, but she'll relay.
Yeah,
And I
I
do
won't
read
even
them.
see it, because Gil was like, well, is this really making a difference? And now when he sees, I was like, babe, you know, I think if any of you girls, you want to do anything, start a new business, start a podcast, start a YouTube channel, it is not going to happen overnight. And you have to be willing to be faithful when there's one person, and be consistent. And just know that if you're doing what God asks you to do, He's going to create an audience for you. And so I feel like that all of you guys are our people, and we hope that we're your people, and we're grateful that we can be in this community together. Gil was talking about it. We're gonna start being a tourist in our own city, and we encourage you to be a tourist in your own city, to go out and date each other. That's why we stopped doing it on Friday night, because on Friday nights we're gonna go out and do things together. Please, I encourage you as a couple, make time to date each other.
Make some deposits.
Make some deposits. Deposit some kisses every day. Deposit some, kind words every day.
Listen.
Deposit some, acts of kindness every day. Make those deposits so that when things happen,
You can make a withdrawal.
you can make a withdrawal, because you're going to make withdrawals. So guess what? So you should make some deposits.
So if you need us, we're here.
Yeah.
Reach out to us any way, shape, form you can, through the podcast, through the episodes here, through the comments. You know our email address, richrelationshiprefuge@gmail.com. We will respond, and we thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we
really,
thank
really
you
do.
for entrusting us into your relationships, into your lives.
Because remember, we are stronger together.
And you are more than enough. And we're going to respond to the comments, and we love you. Thank you guys. Thanks to all of our new subscribers. And when you subscribe, put in new subscriber, and we'll shout you out. We're grateful. We love you. And we will see you guys next Thursday. And guess what? It will not be as messy next Thursday.
It'll be a little bit less
messy. It's going to be a whole lot less messy. So we love you guys, and we hope that you guys had a good time with us, and we had a good time with you. And we will see you guys next Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Same place, same channel, different episode.
See y'all. Night.
Love you guys. Bye. Night, night.
You do it.
I was about to say, what you doing, baby?